rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airways and strap in as we defend the Constitution. Because freedom matters.
We are broadcasting live from the Cottage Studio. You can check out my website, thehohoshow.com. I'm all over the place on social media and a proud member of Weaponized Soft Productions, so welcome to the Ho-Ho Show. And as always, I am your host, Ho-Ho. And if you guys would like to follow along with all the madness and the articles that I will be using on the show, you guys can head on over to thehohoshow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab at the upper right-hand portion of the screen. And there you will see my magazine on Flipboard, which is where I go for pretty much all my articles that I use. So, yeah, there is that. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, Spreaker. Welcome, YouTube, Mixer, Periscope, Facebook, and Twitch. I so totally did that out of order. That's all right, though. It doesn't matter. So, how y'all's doing today? I hope you guys are doing good. I really do. You know, things are starting to cool down quite a bit. Winter is right around the corner, and I'm so excited because that means that my most favorite holiday of all time is coming up right around the corner. Yes, I'm talking about Halloween, just a few weeks out now. Actually, it's like, 2 weeks and some days? Now, let me bring up my handy-dandy calendar here on the computer. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, almost 3 weeks. Like 2 weeks. You know, it's on the 31st. It's like the 12th today, so, you know, that's some days. So, yeah. And speaking of Halloween, okay, Mr. Alex Exum of the Exum Experience and Live Talk, which you can, go check that out. You guys can go to alexexum.com, and you guys can go over to livetalk.live and check out his website. And he had, last year, an amazing show that he did, Interview with the Sasquatch. You guys can check that out you guys can't check that show out over on Spreaker, but, this Halloween, he's doing another show, a very awesome show. Check out this.
In the year 2018, this station produced one of the most terrifying tales ever broadcast on radio. Bigfoot Speaks, Interview with the Sasquatch. This year, we bring you an even more terrifying tale to send chills down your spine. Scary. One night only, October the 31st. Be there if you dare.
Oh, yeah, guys. That's going to be a good time. And that's going to be, of course, this coming Halloween, October 31st. And his show is usually on 7 p.m. Pacific, which is 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, good times. Definitely check that out. Whenever I have more idea on when he's actually going to start doing stuff, because he always does warm-up stuff, or at least he did last year. So whenever I get that information, I will let you guys know. And hello, Howard, over there in Facebook land. And I've seen that you, because there was stuff I left out on that, on Flipboard, my go-to hub for anything, everything, and all things news. You forgot a line in there. Anyway, so we got Columbus Day right around the corner. And I guess there's a lot of places that are just not even doing, Columbus Day whatsoever, not doing any, stuff on it. What the heck are you doing? Oh, I guess that is my magazine. Okay, cool. And I seen this article on here because, there's a lot of things out there, and I mean, there's a lot of hatred for all that, and the East colonizing this, whatever, a lot of misconception on it, and I thought, Howard put in there, my bad. It's okay, man. It's okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I didn't even include it. I was like, I talk a lot on that whole intro thing. It's okay. I'm leaving stuff out. But I come across this article, and this thing had, even information in here that I didn't really know, in all honesty, about it. And I definitely recommend you guys going over to thehohoshow.com, clicking on that newsfeed tab, and going into the magazine for the show. And there's an awesome article in there. Columbus Day haters are missing the entire point of the holiday. you know, and it's a good article. I read through it, and even history about it, as far as like the Indians and different things like that go in there. I'm not going to, you know, really bore you guys with the entire article, but it's a good read. I definitely recommend reading it because it just, you know, it kind of paints the picture as far as, you know, how life was here before we got here. And, you know, now y'all know about how it is now, you know. And I tell you guys what, I got hooked on a TV series on Netflix. I think there was just like one season of it. I couldn't even tell you which season it was that it aired, but it was The Curse of Skull Island. I get interested in that kind of stuff because it's like a mixture of like history, treasure hunting, and it puts it all into a reality show that's like whatever, you know. But there was actually really neat in one of the episodes. Couldn't tell you which one it was, but a really neat one that where they were talking about, you know, Christopher Columbus landed over there whenever they, you know, originally came out here. And in which case I was like, all right, well, that's actually kind of interesting because I know that he didn't actually land in the, really? A pop-up? Really? You want to do that to me now? But I knew that he didn't actually land, or at least this is what one of the things that they say, is that he didn't actually land in the U.S., that he, you know, originally landed up in Mexico. Stop, rewind, play. That he actually landed up in Canada, you know, just, I hate it whenever that happens. But so, yeah, I mean, just interesting stuff thrown in there. I definitely recommend watching that because it's, you know, history, it's legend, it's neat stuff. I like neat. I really do like neat. You know, kind of like the, you know, Eye of the Sahara, the Ricard structure, City of Atlantis, amazing stuff. And yes, I have that sitting on my dining room table. I love it. Daryl, it was a, you know, something that I got off of him. Very, very awesome little thing that he did. It was very cool. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into some stuff for the show. The main crux of it, you know, so yes, there was that, you know, Columbus Day stuff, but yeah, you know, check out the article. It was neat. Otherwise, let's see here. Let's get into this. So we got some, I'm going to start in on guns because y'all know that's like, you know, one of my favorite topics in here. You know, I love talking about guns. Guns are amazing. And, you know, we got some, you know, some of this whole impeachment thing, whistleblower stuff, because apparently there's another whistleblower that has come forward. And, of course, the Democrats really do not want the identity being released of the first whistleblower. And of which case, of course you guys don't, because what we have found out so far is like, of course you guys don't want us to know who this guy is. Vector's over there just creating a ruckus. I'll tell you what. So, guns. Let's get into that. Now, there's this article that I had run into, and you know, of course, the headline, it made me really curious as to what was going on here. So, this headline, let me actually even show you guys. This headline, he sold illegal AR-15s. Fed agreed to let him go free to avoid hurting gun control efforts. Okay. So I had to click on this to kind of read what was going on. Apparently, this guy had sold quite a few illegal, or at least unregistered AR-15s, you know, for about $1,000 each is what he says that he sold, and he sold more than 2 dozen to illegal, you know, to people that were not able to legally own a firearm. Okay, so here's the thing. If you guys are wondering how could this happen and why would he not get in trouble for illegal weapons, making these weapons, well, you see, here's the weird thing whenever it comes to an AR-15, okay? And it's weird because, well, it makes no sense to me. I mean, it really doesn't, because with an AR-15, you have an upper and you have a lower. The upper is the barrel. That's what's got the rifling on it. The rifling is the part that, you know, that they check the rifling of it. You know, that's what kind of, you know, one of the things that they use to identify what gun shot out which bullet, you know, is checking the rifling patterns on it, and there you go. That's what they use. But the barrel, the upper, doesn't, you know, they don't have a serial number on it, which is weird. The serial number is on the bottom, the lower, the triggering mechanism, where you can have, that's the selector, the safe mode, the fire mode, that's what they had the serial number on, is the lower. I don't know why they put the serial number on just the lower and no type of serial number on the upper, but that's what they did. And you can actually buy what's called an 80% lower, which is like basically a blank that's in the shape of it, and then you have to mill it yourself. You got to mill it down yourself in order to have it working and get all the pieces together and put it together yourself. That's what you got to do. And by doing that, it's perfectly legal to do that. And by doing that, you do have a technically unregistered firearm, but it is perfectly legal. However, you're not supposed to just sell these to anybody, because you still have to you're still supposed to do the background check. You're still supposed to do everything the legal way. And somebody who does not have a prior restriction on them to purchase a firearm, they can't buy one. So if you already are illegal to own one, you're illegal to own one, period. It doesn't matter, okay? And the reasoning why, so I don't really know what the reasoning why, as far as why they didn't do anything to him. If he's selling them to, people who are not supposed to get it, there should be something that happens to him. There should be some type of prosecutorial thing that happens if he's selling to, people whom are not supposed to have firearms. It should be. Okay. Yes, he's kind of using a legal loophole, but that's not really a legal loophole, because illegal is illegal. All he's doing is manufacturing them himself, making a better weapon for a cheaper price of what you can buy over the counter anywhere else. It's still legal to do it that way, which is probably kind of why they left him alone on that. But at the same time, it's like, come on, guys. If you're selling it illegally and you're wanting to keep firearms out of the hands of people that aren't supposed to have them, then okay. What in the world? It's just, I don't get it. And more pop-ups. Of course there's more pop-ups. So it's just, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that. And that's really what my assumption was, that he was getting the 80% lowers and doing it, his own self, milling it. I think that's what they call it, milling it. I think he did that his own self, because it didn't really say. It didn't, specifically say what it was he was doing, just that he was getting the firearms and he was making them himself and selling them, unregistered, because that's the only way I know to do it, is at 80% lower and milling it yourself. So there is that. And let's see, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when we return, we're going to talk a little bit about this whole, the troops kind of stepping aside on the Syrian border of Turkey, and kind of what has happened on that. And I'm kind of curious on what you guys feel on that one. Why do you have long sleeves on, Mr. Polar Bear? Dude, it's cold in here. It's really, really cold. Like earlier, I could see my breath cold. It's like, holy crap. I'm still in shorts, and I ain't got no socks on, but I got long sleeves because it's cold. And I got to light the furnace because the pilot light went out. So needless to say, it's cold. It's really cold. I mean, holy cow, dude, it's cold. And you're right, dude. I am such a polar bear. You wouldn't think that the cold would bother me. Cold doesn't. I mean, it's like, I got to have long sleeves on, man. I had to put my thermals on. Didn't put my thermal underbreeches on. Just put my thermal coat, jacket, thing, shirt on. That thing, yeah. All right, guys. Just one moment, and I will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. So, as I said before I went to break, we're going to talk about this whole, with the American troops kind of stepping aside on the border and what that has kind of caused. I guess there's already been a invasion of troops across the border. I mean, I really haven't heard a whole heck of a lot of it. Not a whole heck of a lot of news on there, but there's been a lot of talk about it. There really has been. And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys on this. I don't 100% know how I feel on this one. Okay. I mean, granted, there is the aspect of, and this is, I would probably say the biggest aspect of it, that yes, I do understand that whenever, with, former President Obama, whenever he had the whole, red line in the sand with Syria, didn't do anything about it. He got a lot of slack on that from, a lot of people, me included. And also with, him pulling out of Afghanistan and what had, happened with that with ISIS, and General Mattis has also spoke up. He's like, dude, this is, we're going to cause, a resurgence of, ISIS fighters in that area by doing this. And of which case I can totally understand his argument on that, and especially considering that it is the Kurds who are guarding the prison that has the ISIS fugitives in it, kind of like Gitmo, they got that over there. And of which case, if they're left to their own demise, these guys are going to be able to get out and then rejoin the fight and do whatever it is that they were doing that got them to be put in prison in the first place. And of which case, I really don't like that idea. I don't like that aspect. I really don't, But part of it is also, it's like, okay, now, I think it was like, 500 troops that wasn't pulled out. They were just kind of moved. They were shifted somewhere else. Why? I don't know why, And honestly, it does seem kind of ridiculous to do that, especially considering President Trump himself, put, former President Obama down for doing what he did with the pulling out of troops, getting out of the area, and allowing bad things to happen. So, I mean, the same could be said with President Trump doing what he's doing now. But it's also kind of an aspect of, it's like, all right, why are we over there? Because one of the things that President Trump did, one of the things that President Trump campaigned on was, ending this war, getting out of it, being done with it, And I'm not to say that I'm completely a nationalist, I guess you can say, that, we just need to bring all our boys home, all that other kind of stuff. I don't completely agree with that, because I do think that our presence is needed in a lot of different places in the world. I do think that it is it's a positive thing, and like with over there, our presence over there on the border, it helped maintain the peace, but we wasn't doing anything other than just kind of watching a border, So, I mean, it's just, I don't really know as if there's really a good answer on this one, because, that's the thing with, former President Obama's, presidency. His entire presidency, we were basically in a state of war, and President Trump doesn't want that. He doesn't want to follow in that type of footsteps. He wants to follow through with his campaign promise and bring our boys home, because that's the thing, guys. I mean, our presence over there, and I mean, granted, we don't want ISIS. We don't want terrorists to be coming over here. We don't want that. Nobody wants that. And nobody's saying that we do. But, or at least I'm not saying that we do. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, we have no business getting involved in, these different countries, civil wars. We don't really, what right do we have to do that? Yeah, we may want, democracy over, a dictatorship, but who are we to force that on them? If we're not going to take over the country and make it the 51st state, if we're not going to do that, what business do we really have of being over there, occupying the territory? That's not right either. It's just, I don't know. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I don't know. So let me know what you guys think on that. Let me know in the comments. How do you guys feel about this? How do you guys feel about, our troops just kind of stepping aside and let happen whatever happened. How do you guys how do you guys feel about that? Do you guys think that this is really going to have as big of a negative impact as what they're kind of saying it's going to have in the news? I mean, I do think it's possible. And of course, if we got to go over there and clean it up, then I guess we got to clean it up. But then it's like, why would we even move aside in the first place? So it's like, it's irritating. It really is. It's irritating. So let's get into this whole whistleblower thing. Again, guys, let me know what you think on that, because I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think. I'm curious about that. So let me know. Send me a message. Put in the comments. Let me know. So let's go ahead and move on to some of this whole whistleblower crap. And yeah, I call it whistleblower crap, Now, with the original whistleblower, they really, the Democrats do not want any of this information coming out. They don't want him revealed. They do not want, oh yeah, by the way, thank you for the follow over there in Mixer. Let's see, Free Cappy Bars. Yes, thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. Or ma'am. I don't know. It doesn't tell me which one. I don't know. Anyway, so with the whistleblower, okay, it's, the Democrats do not want the identity of the whistleblower to be revealed. They're trying to keep a lid on that. They do not want it revealed whatsoever, and of which case, the part of the reason behind that is, and this is some information that has come out, is, there is some report that came out that the whistleblower has, okay, so we already know, let me rewind this a little bit. Let me set this up, okay? We already know that he is this person is somebody that either is or was in the CIA. I'm pretty sure is, in the CIA, and this person works in the White House, okay? So they're familiar with things that are going on in the White House. Now, one of the things that's been released is that this person had worked closely, in the CIA, worked in the White House, and a rollover from the previous administration. And it also has been released now that this individual has had close ties to and has worked for one of the 2020 Democratic candidates. Okay? Now, they haven't said which candidate he worked for, but it's kind of like you put two and two together and you come up with Biden. CIA. Well, now, that doesn't even really play into this, but CIA, hello, legitimate crap. I can read. Legitimately, Nico Nee. Yes, hello. How you doing? But it's like, okay, with, previous administration, working in the White House, and worked for one of the candidates, I mean, who else could that be? Besides Joe Biden. So that's kind of where most everybody is kind of going with this. That's what most people think. And of course, I mean, it makes sense, okay? Basically, somebody that knows Joe is like, okay, Joe's a nice guy. We really don't want his name smeared by, President Trump talking bad about him. Oh, he's talking bad about, former Vice President Joe Biden. Oh, we're going to put an end to this. And then that's when this whole thing started, okay? Don't want them investigating. Holy crap. Ooh, an anonymous caller. Can't even give me a phone number. All right, well, let's do this. Welcome to the Ho Ho Show. You are on the air. How's it going? Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good.
Awesome. So what's up? What can I do for you?
Give me money.
I can't give you money. I don't have any money.
I don't have any money either.
Oh, well, that sucks. All right, well, hey, thanks for calling. You have yourself a great day. Gotta love it. All right, so now that we have this whistleblower coming forward, and now that we have, that kind of falling through the cracks, because now it's like, not a whole lot. It wasn't damaging to President Trump enough. Not at all, because all this ended up being, if you guys remember, was the whistleblower report that was more or less talking bad about a phone call. The phone call came out before the whistleblower report even came out. And the whole thing just fell through because it really was a whole bunch of nothing. Now we have another whistleblower coming forward. And I haven't heard a hill or beans about anything on that one. I really haven't heard anything about it. I don't know what the whistleblower said. I'm assuming they're investigating it, and we're going to hear something about it relatively soon. But that's not even the big part of this, because the bigger part of this is that President Trump is now saying that he's not going to cooperate. The White House is not going to cooperate at all with the investigation from Congress. They're not going to investigate at all. Now, he even did a letter. This wasn't an official legal letter. This was more or less like a, hey, you know what? If you guys want to investigate this, then let's do this. You know, if you guys want to do a formal impeachment hearing, then let's do a formal impeachment hearing, because the Congress hasn't even done that yet. The House has not voted to do a formal impeachment hearing. All they're doing is conducting an investigation, asking some people some questions, throwing out subpoenas out there, but they can't do anything if you don't honor the subpoena, because that has to go through the courts and they got to do the process, you know, because the legality of this kind of stuff takes time, you know, but they haven't done any of that. And President Trump's like, dude, if you guys aren't going to do this, if you guys aren't going to get serious about this, I'm not going to help you out. I can kind of understand that. You know, I can very much understand that, because he wants these guys to go on record. Because this is the funny part about it, okay? Now, there's some people out there that are like, I really don't think this is going to end well for President Trump. You know, with the 2020 elections coming up, I don't think this is going to help them out whatsoever. But guys, this is genius, okay? Because he knows that if he forces this vote, okay, if he forces this vote, he's going to force the Republicans, you know, the ones that may not necessarily, well, okay, the ones that would depend, you know, their reelection would depend on the help that they would get from President Trump's presence in that whole thing. You know, I mean, let's face it, guys, there's a lot of people that got elected in 2016 only because Trump was on the ballot at the time. That's it. That's the only reason why people came out and voted for them too. Otherwise, it would have been a Democrat in the seat. So there's going to be a lot of people that are just as dependent on President Trump being on the ballot. And by doing this, by forcing a vote in the House, he's going to force these people to make a decision. Are you going to support him, or are you not going to support him? And if you're not going to support him, well, you're risking not getting reelected. You know, I thought that was brilliant. I got to be honest with you guys. I totally thought that was brilliant. You know, politically speaking, it was still a good move to make. I'm like, oh yeah. You know, because that letter that he sent wasn't anything official. Nothing that they can do to him on that. It was just President Trump talking smack. That's all that was. It's like, look, guys, I want you guys to get serious. If you guys want to do this inquiry, then do the inquiry. Do it right. Vote on it. Bring it up. See what your peers think on this. And let's see how they're willing to vote. Let's see if they're actually willing to put their name to a yay or a nay and go on from there. I thought it was awesome. I mean, I really did. I thought it was cool. What just happened? What do you mean, what just happened? Mr. Humphreys over there in Facebook land. How you doing, sir? Good to see you. He's like, oh, it's the Ho-Ho Show. That's right. It is. So, yeah, that's what I think about this whole, you know, whistleblower thing, you know, with that whole letter that President Trump put in there. That's what I think about that. I thought it was great political standing. I thought that he made a good move on that, definitely by making these, you know, making the Republicans stand up, vote yay or nay on a vote whenever they know that they're voting, you know, that their reelection in 2020 is going to be on the line. That kind of swings in the balance on this. All right, so let's go ahead and move on a little bit. So, I don't know if you guys have heard this. I don't know how much you guys pay attention to Canadian politics. I, for one, really don't all that much. But Trudeau, Justin Trudeau, he got in trouble for, wearing, it wasn't blackface, it was brownface, you know. But that's what he got in trouble for racist whatever. I don't remember if this was something that happened whenever he was in high school or as a teacher in high school, but the Halloween time frame, he dressed up as Aladdin. Okay. And as dressing up in Aladdin, he had to kind of make himself look like Aladdin. And of which case, instead of buying a mask, he just bought the face paint and did it that way. That's what he did. And then the whole apology, oh, gee, I'm so sorry. I didn't think about it as being racist then, but now I can see, oh, this is just such a horrible thing. Really? Dude, it was for Halloween. Are you really apologizing for using face paint instead of a mask during Halloween? It's like, I don't, why are you even apologizing? So here's a cop, a sheriff, and he had black, he did blackface, and I'm waiting for this whole thing to get off of there. Get off my screen. Get off my screen. Really? Can I close that out? Maybe. I can close it out. I can't close it out. Anyway, here's the thing. Oh, wait. Nope, not there. There it is. A sheriff hopeful admitted in an ad that he wore blackface, and he's not apologizing. Why? Because probably the same thing here. It wasn't a racist act. And that's one of the things that I, not that I don't really, keep track of these things. Not even talking anything about Canadian politics, because I don't really know anything about Canadian politics. In fact, people that I talk to up there, they're like, I really don't like this Trudeau character. Okay, but why should you apologize for something that you got no business apologizing about? That's what I'm saying on that. I think it's ridiculous. I'm glad, actually, that this sheriff is like, I'm not apologizing for something I don't need to apologize to. Because that's the thing about, and hello, Samantha over there in Facebook land. How's it going? Hope you're doing good. Really do. Good to see you over there. But that's one of them things that makes, me for one, totally irritates the crap out of me with this whole PC culture thing, is things that there's nothing wrong with, all of a sudden, because you might offend somebody, now you got to watch your P's and Q's and apologize about something when they're not really apologetic about. You don't mean it. It's like, holy crap, guys, really? Are you so childish? Are you so childish? Anyway, moving on. Ooh, speaking of, and I just read this actually not that long ago, earlier today, actually. Apparently, we have another wave of immigrants heading this way from southern Mexico. It says a wave of 2,000 immigrants. I didn't see where they were at. She's sitting next to me. Poor one. Oh, I know. I'm sorry. She's sitting next to you. That's a bad thing, Howard. That's a bad thing. So, but apparently we got, 2,000 immigrants coming up from southern Mexico. I haven't seen, as far as where they're at, just says that they're coming up, and it looks like they're in Tapachula, Mexico. Several hundred immigrants from Africa, the Caribbean, and Central America set off from southern Mexico on Saturday in a caravan headed to the United States. So now we've got to see how long it takes for them to get here and what's going to happen on that one. Another wave of immigrants coming up from our southern border. Yep, 2,000 immigrants head towards the U.S. from Mexico. Good times. Good times. So, all right, let's see. There's a couple more articles down here on the bottom I was wanting to talk about. Oh, yeah, that's going to be funny. That's going to be funny. All right, we're going to take another quick break. And when we return, did I play that one already? Yeah, let's play. Where'd it go? Nope, not that one. Not that. Stop it. Oh, there it is. All right, another quick break, guys, and we will be right back. All right, welcome back. So, guys, I have got to share something with you guys, and this really is going to be a short show because there really wasn't a whole heck of a lot to talk about today. I mean, there really wasn't. I mean, just kind of like the same news coming out. The biggest thing was the, stuff going on inside Syrian border, but I just, I don't know how I feel about that. I really don't. So I have to I got to show you something. I got to show you the cover of a headline that it made me kind of throw up in my mouth a little bit. And, love you guys. So I've got to do the same thing to you. Yeah. So I guess there's a couple people that it sounds like the DNC is just, one person that talks of her kind of joining, becoming a candidate again for the, the presidential candidate. And that is, the lovely, the wonderful, just the charismatic, the so approachable, the forever loving Hillary Clinton. I guess there's talks about her possibly coming into the race, which I thought hilarious because, some of the things that she's been talking about is like, oh yeah, I'll do this. I'll join this race. I'll win again. Wait, what? What alternate universe are you in, honey? Because you're not sitting in the Oval Office. I guess she's talking about the popular vote. Whatever, the DNC, that they're ticked at President Trump because he played the game better than they did. Excuse me. Whew. And there's another person that I heard that they're just kind of begging her to enter the race, and that is former First Lady Michelle Obama. Yeah. Now, of course, he could easily win again if it's Hillary Clinton. Easily win again. I don't know about that whole, Michelle Obama. But I mean, here's the thing though, man. I mean, could you imagine how bad Hillary's head would just explode if, let's just say, Michelle Obama, ran against President Trump and won, considering, she's already lost twice. It's like, holy cow, because she lost against, former President Obama. She lost against President Trump. And if, Michelle were to end up getting the nominee and winning, just make her head explode. That would almost be worth it for me. Almost, but not quite. I'm just saying, it would just be amazing. Just that'd be so great. I mean, it really would be. That'd be awesome. But I got to be honest with you guys. I don't really see Michelle, going for it. I mean, maybe 2024, but I don't really know as if she would really want to risk running in 2020 and going up against President Trump. That would be an interesting battle, though. That really would be an interesting battle. So let's see. There's another thing I've seen. And dude, this is actually kind of interesting to me because, whenever I was a kid, really it's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted at all. When I was a kid, carving a pumpkin was, something you did with a knife. Well, you didn't do it. You let your parents do it because knives are sharp and we don't want to cut our, fingertips off. All right, it's story time. So got invited to supper, buddy's house, and it was pork chops and it was sliced fried taters. Okay, now they had this this really awesome, brand new, never before used, really really awesome, amazing, sits on top of a bowl little slicer for doing slicing things, when they were doing, potatoes. And this sucker comes complete with not only the amazing blade that says, really sharp on it, like keep, the things that you want to stay attached to yourself, it also came with this awesome thing that you put your hand on that's got a little, rim around it. They called it a cowboy hat that you can use and put the potato on, and it protects your fingertips from getting caught by the blade. Now, for some reason, they decided they wasn't going to do that. Safety, doesn't matter. So they were using it without this. Okay, so she was, cutting, and she cut just a little bitty, little bit off her finger, just a little bitty bit. And, that was it, just nothing, not just kind of grazed it a little bit, nothing real major. And so he decides, being the awesome dad that he is, that, I'm going to show her the proper way on how to do this. And this way she will know how to slice with this nice, awesome, amazing slicer. He's going to town, man. He's slicing, he's dicing, he's getting that sucker. Next thing you know, he's like, okay, so that's how you do it. And then he gets up and he's just beelines over to how we're put in here. Oh, Stumpy, you're jumping ahead, man. You're jumping ahead. Hold on. So, he jumps up and he's heading over to the kitchen. And on his way out of the living room, he turns around and he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, these taters are going to need to be washed because there's fingertips in them. And then he's off to the kitchen and he goes to the sink and he puts his hand underwater and there you go. So yes, ladies and gents, he cut a couple fingers off. Now, I would show you which ones by just holding up the two fingers that he sliced, but I'm not going to do that because that would be bad if I were to show you, because it was this finger and this finger, and these are bad fingers. You can't do that. So I'm not going to show you which two fingers it was. Not at all. The middle finger and the thumb. I'm not showing you that whatsoever. We'll blank that. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so that's what he did. Okay. And so I'm looking in the bowl and I see one of them. Okay. Yep. That's definitely the tip, just the tip. And I looked over at the bowl on the other side of it and it's like, that one's quite a bit bigger, and I'm like, that sucker's got, ridges and swirls on it. That's a fingerprint. Last time I checked, taters don't have fingerprints. So I'm like, okay, so we found your fingertips, and he's looking in the bowl and he's like, that's not a fingertip, that's a slice of tater. I'm like, dude, that tater has got fingerprints on it, so that ain't no tater. So he takes the thing out and he's looking at it and he's feeling it, he's squishing it. He's like, I don't know, man, I'm not convinced. So he puts it in his mouth, tastes it. Now he's convinced that that's definitely a finger. He's like, oh yeah, that's definitely a finger. So time goes by, we're cooking, and he gets the, he starts to get doctored up, because one of the kids is buddies, they, volunteer firemen, and he's got, he's starting to learn some stuff with EMT and getting to know some stuff and some stuff, good times. And so he's helping him out by getting him doctored up. He gets some gauze and gets some, electrical tape because, that's the best thing for guys to use to keep things from bleeding. So, they were trying really hard to get the bleeding to stop, and after about an hour and a half, bleeding wasn't stopping. Shut up. The bleeding wasn't stopping. It's about time to eat. And he's like, I got to get this bleeding to stop. And I was like, well, I don't have access to the cauterizing the debleeder stuff at the firehouse. But, and I'm like, well, I thought cornstarch does a really good job. Isn't that what that stuff pretty much is? And he's like, well, and other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but it's still cornstarch. And he's like, but I got a better idea. I heard about this other powder that you can put on stuff to get it to stop bleeding, and it works great. Cayenne pepper powder, powdered cayenne pepper, he's like, all right, well, at this point, let's go ahead and try it. So he puts the cayenne pepper on the open wounds, and of which case, evidently, cayenne pepper does the same thing to your fingers, an open cut, that, it does to your tongue. Now, whenever he said cayenne pepper, I was like, okay, this is going to be bad. And I even offered a better solution. I was like, dude, if we're going to use cayenne pepper, why don't we just use salt? Because that really works too on cauterizing. Like, yes, it's going to hurt, but it's also going to do the job, But apparently they didn't want to listen to me. They wanted to put cayenne pepper on it. And of course, cayenne pepper did. Like I said, it burned. It burned bad. So after 2 hours, he's now finally eaten. And, it's like, okay, you're not stopped bleeding at all. We're going to take it to the emergency room. So he goes to the emergency room. And, I guess when he's there, they're like, gauze pads, gauze and electrical tape. And at some point during, his stay, his nice, wonderful visit to the ER, he basically had every single nurse in there because they're like, okay, gauze, electrical tape, there's going to be a good story to this. So they had to go in there and be like, what happened? They had to find out what happened, And of course, why wouldn't you? You see a guy come in with electrical tape and, gauze, of course you're going to ask what happened. So, they went ahead and they, used a cauterizing tool and then got it to stop bleeding. It was good, amazing time. So amazing thing. So don't slice taters without protection. Protection is a must needed thing when you're slicing taters. There's my good story. Had to throw that one in there. Oh, Stumpy. Yeah. I loved Howard's comment on that. Oh, Stumpy. Yeah. Had to throw that one in there. And they're wanting to call him, Stubby. But I can't do that. I can't call him Stubby. I got a family member of mine, and he's missing, down to his first knuckle on his finger, the part of his finger that's got the fingernail on it. He's missing that on his pointer finger, So, whenever I was young, knee high to a grasshopper, I asked him, I'm like, hey, how did that happen? And my uncle, being a nice, honest, wonderful, just straightforward guy that he was, he of course, he told me the absolute truth on what happened to him. He said, I was picking my nose one day and the booger monster bit it off. And my reaction was simple. It was, what? Okay, now I have absolutely no idea I have no recollection if my finger was actually in my nose when he told me that, but knowing me, I was a gold digger, if there was gold up in them there hills, there's only one way to get them out, and that's get the old picker out and start going up in there and just rooting around and finding them. I didn't chop down on them to make sure it was good quality gold. I just, and then flick, just roll it between your fingers a little bit. Yep, that's a good piece of gold, and then flick. That's all you got to do. I was a gold digger back in the day. So, probably it was up there, but I don't know. But, the thing is, though, right after that caused a really huge moral dilemma in my life. It really did. I got to be honest with you. Him telling me that, and of course, I believed it for like a year. It was like, ooh, can't pick my nose. Booger monster going to bite it off. So I'm like, okay, well, if I can't use my pointer finger, if I can't use it, because, there's gold up in them there hills. You got to get it out, So, but if I can't use that one, then okay, fine. I can't use that one. All right. So what can I use instead as a pick to get them their gold? I got to use something. There's got to be something I can. Oh, that's an amazing idea. My little finger. That's an amazing idea because that sucker is small enough. I can get that sucker up in there, choke the little guy out, and kill him before he has a chance to bite down on my finger. It didn't work. I didn't kill him, but I did make the booger monster bleed. I made him bleed. It was a good time. Well, guys, that's really all I got for the show today. That's it. That's all I got. And yeah, I kind of did the stories in the back of it instead of at the front of it. I don't know why I did that. That's just when inspiration hit me to tell you this story. I like telling stories. Well, guys, one more time on this whole Halloween Scary Mary. This Halloween, which I'm assuming is going to start, at least the main portion of it, at 7 p.m. Pacific. That is 9 p.m. Central. Definitely stop on by at alexexum.com, or actually you can go to livetalk.live or alexexum.com, and you can find it there as well. And there you will hear...
In the year 2018, this station produced one of the most terrifying tales ever broadcast on radio. Bigfoot Speaks, Interview with the Sasquatch. This year, we bring you an even more terrifying tale to send chills down your spine. Scary, scary. One night only, October the 31st. Be there if you dare.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was an awesome show that he did last year. This one is bound to be even better because he's doing this whole thing with 3D sound. You know, it's going to be awesome. I definitely recommend checking it out. Get your headphones on. Check that show out. That'll be this Halloween. All right, guys, that is all I got for the show today. You all have yourself a wonderful evening. Good night. Sleep tight. And if the bed bugs bite, well, then, by golly, bite them back. Oh, yeah. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head on over to thehohoshow.com. And for all things Weaponized Sloth Productions related, you can head on over to WSPFM.com. Until next time.